Hello, and welcome to another episode of JLC More to the NBA. Now, you right here, I'm showing you the covers of the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks. It's ball. It's a cuss. I am picking them to win the title this year. Here in the 2023 NBA title. Now we're gonna get this position right. Here we go. Now, I'm picking them to win the title year. Here, in my previous video, I talked about the Golden State Warriors, and their last dance. But I kind of hid it in that video. I'll read down inside the description below. If you want to check it out. You haven't sighted it yet. But in that video specifically, I hinted several times that there was a team on the other side that could beat them. Yeah, and actually, this week that they couldn't beat them. And that was the Milwaukee Bucks. But this video is more focused on Giannis and what's gonna happen next week with him and Embiid crash about the MVP when they announce it. And if you know what about the MVP, this is gonna be my juiciest topic yet, basically. So you like covering things like that, but also having a good, friendly debate about to talk with your friends, to talk with your family, to talk with the people who you like talking to, or when you ride to work or anything. This is a channel to do it. So I'm gonna try to do as many videos as I can this month about. So at the most best time of the year on the NBA, which is the NBA playoffs. So consider subscribing. Now let's get right into the video, shall we? Now the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo has gotten hurt, but he's supposed to come back in the road games. And I believe tomorrow, they're in the Miami Heat in Game 3. And he's is back from his injury after being hurt from a back injury, a freak accident that basically was kind of brutal, and I was really hoping to see him take it upon that this team, because it's always been a rivalry between him and Jimmy Butler. It could be the last time we see Jimmy Butler in a Miami Heat jersey. So that series was very interesting. And with Giannis is versing the team, but in versus them. But what was very interesting is that their team was very collective. You could see their team is so collective which I mean the Milwaukee Bucks. They just showed and kind of drive to them. You could tell that they really focus on not just defense, but they're one of those teams that it is, or corrects, that the team is balanced. The team, to me, whoever wins the title, it all comes down which team shows the most balance towards the NBA playoffs. It's both defense and offense. Those things are very important. They are shown, and part of notating is the way collective. What they show as a team, because it's 82 games during the season, and you want to see this team in the biggest way possible. Well, when the pressure comes in, when it actually comes on to them as a favorite, you want them to live up to the hype. The playoffs is all about that. Where if they are going to live up to the hype, or are they going to run thin, or collapse under pressure? You want the other way. You want them to get through it. Right. Now there's a middle ground where there's underdogs and there are dark horses. It's like the Los Angeles Lakers on their side. But this is not one of those cases. But there is another case on this side. at the East with Joe Embiid. Joe Embiid and us and Nikola Jokic are battling to see who is MVP this year. These are the three candidates. Now, here's the thing. I will be Jokic got a third, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo second, first Embiid. Now, this is not. I did pick in the early part of the season Joe Embiid to win, but the more I thought about Giannis, how he was gonna sort of take it. Going at, it's been years. We've been saying that Giannis is the best player that has come since the likes of LeBron James and Curry. We can all agree those guys are gonna be right regarded as one of the top 10 greatest players of all time. Both of them are, if not the needle point for Curry or LeBron James right there already. Right, so you can consider him the GOAT. But here's the thing. Giannis has a chance to able to get to that grass. But what's stopping him to gain there in the horn down gun run? I think we all know the one title. Oh, I remember Casey Kiram on YouTube, who even Hoopsy and more people like to call him. Now he has made a video when the Milwaukee Bucks won the title. He said something pretty interesting that I re-looked at. He said in the video, this title is gonna be like Dirk Nowitzki's title when he won the Mavericks and it was his one-time winning. And it's gonna send a certain depth to it to show us all who is the greatest player in this generation. And he was pointing to basically because LeBron's getting older, Curry's getting older, or Giannis is gonna be one of the third best players in that generation. And he's going to be the youngest of those three. But here's the thing. That's something we can all agree with. But notice between the difference, Giannis and Dirk. Dirk was in the title run on the Dirk Nowitzki, who won with the Mavericks about 12 years back. He won, and it sent shockwaves. But he was in his prime when he had better time with those players together. Won that title. That feels good. Because all these players came together, these veterans, and there was no perfect time to win it. And with them, they tried to go at several times with a different team, but they couldn't get the same mesh of pieces to able to replicate again, to able to win a dynasty. But Giannis wasn't in the age of Dirk. That's the key difference. Giannis still has his team as well. That's another difference. It's other white Dirk's team. They kept a lot of their pieces. They had to bring back a lot of their pieces, and then basically they tried to figure out gaps of new pieces that could be the same, but really weren't. And that's but that's not the same thing with Giannis, where he has kept all his team that he won in the title, and they want to get that one more last one. Giannis knows that. He wants to put everything into this year and show everyone that he's won the greatest. He just hinted that he almost retired before the title run because of all the oppression that came with it. in a sense of earnesty. There's always sort of pressure gates on you, and he didn't want on it. And we really glad he didn't retire. He didn't pick to choose retirement. He made it true. 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 Giannis is one of those players who has a sort of built to him that you know that he's gonna get everything he got into the game. I love his quote that he did in the middle of the season, saying, "And I'm not talented as Curry and Kevin Durant, but I had a lot more work. I worked as hard as anybody, probably better than anybody, and I'm gonna give my all to sort of agree." And you see that aggression, you see that exhaust, you see that showing down depth that he gives the game every single time. He's one most gifted two-way players we ever saw in the game. The only thing there is the jump shot, but he shows that he doesn't really meet it. Instead, he always tries to get it into the game, and when he makes it, he's more dangerous when he's making that game. And that's what now he knows how to give it his all in the biggest ways possible. Well, a 6'11" freak who almost is like LeBron James, but is 3/4 of not. What I mean, a quarter away from not. LeBron James, essentially mean. Man, I almost messed up there. But here it is with Embiid. Embiid had his best year of his career. He wanted to win MVP for quite a while. He has lost it to Jokic several times. And to as once, this is the year that he wants to win. When he averaged 33 points, almost 10 more tonight, 7 in blocks. Yes, Joel Embiid is someone special. And you could tell that his offense has been basically kind of old school, or with a little bit of new school. Well, you see the triple range, but you also see the guy going to the paint and using his height against you. He always wants to give you a level of aggression and wants to be able to give you his sense that he knows that he's one of the best. Yes, he wants to show you it. He has a sort of pride to himself, but he has always the way to have. He has, which I mean, he has. Let's see here, the footwork almost like Akeem, except he reminds me a lot of Patrick Ewing when he was in New York. But the only difference is one has a triple range, one or doesn't, and the other one has not the best toughness, but has the same trash talk as Patrick Ewing. If Patrick Ewing in this time, he'll be so much on Twitter. Or he'll be kind of a crazy cat when it comes to Twitter or using it. Embiid is kind of the same way. Hey, that's the thing. There's a lot of key similarities. He's to Patrick Ewing and Embiid, and that's what I'm talking about. Now, Embiid been wanting to win that MVP for a time. All right, but all right. Now here's the thing. They're going to give it to him. I really believe they're going to give it to him. It's going to be not really that close. It's going to be probably the closest awards or it's to the votes. But it's going to be like, you see, he got about 28% more than Giannis or Jokic. Who knows? Maybe Giannis might finish third. But here's the thing. it's getting kind of wrong because this year, because us and Embiid and Jokic, it's just a show of centers versus each other because it's been a long time since two centers versus each other or clash to get to versus each other towards MVP for years on foot. But it hasn't happened since 2010, and it was since then, and that wasn't that good. That 2010, and so it had to happen really since the 90s. Yes, and that's the sore put in Giannis has done the same degree as Jokic and Embiid, except he has a defense. He has aggression. He has shown every single time that he wants to be a consistent basis. And he wants to get everything he's got. And not just had a chance to win MVP, but be a sense of the greatest. He knows that where he is in this time of his career, that he could become one of the top 15 greatest players of all time. If he was a title, that's a fact. He's a top 15 player of all time. I even say he's right there with Shaq. And that, Ian Shaquille O'Neal says he's this era Superman, and that's a high degree. He doesn't really give the Superman unless he really shows it. Good, and that's what he's going to give. Giannis is someone else. He has a lot of pieces. Jrue Holiday, he's the most underrated player in the team. He has he's the most underrated player in the league. A two-way player that can play make, and really rich when it comes to getting the paint and making huge. I think a lot of people, the reason why they sleep on him and don't talk about him when they talk about the best players in the league is because his jump shot is not that much to be desired. All right. But he's a smart player. He knows his jump shot is not the best, but when he gets going in the mid-range and in the paint, he always wants that treatment range. He knows when to use it. And I think that is some of the best players, is when they know when to use it, when it is important to the team, and they take it to the best of the game, of what they want. They're smart shooters. Which I mean, smart shooters are probably just as good as important as eight shooters. And that's why I like Jrue Holiday so much. Jrue Holiday is a top player that a lot of people should talk about more, but the only way they do is they win 2 rings. You know, in a sense of going with this is Mills, and he's been hurt a lot this season. A lot of people have been playing him the second best player, but for a long while, Jrue Holiday has been the second best player hit that team for a big while. For about 3 years now. And Mills, and he's getting hurt. He's still a great shooter. He's one of the best movement shooters in the league. And when he gets hot, whew, it is very hard to shot a shot creator. He has a terrific story of being the second round pick. He was 3 years in the G League. The Bucks were even thinking of cutting him, but then he won the most player and show everyone that he deserved that contract extension. And he even wanted to show that he wants a third one, a big juicy one. And the thing is, he wants to able to get everything he got. Being very important to his team. He wants to show. The thing is, last season, you could tell they were one piece away or a few games away to be able to show that they want to win a title. But Chris Middleton wasn't there. Wasn't healthy enough to be able to play in the series against Boston that end up when losing. And they couldn't beat the Heat that season. They couldn't beat the Warriors that season. But they had Chris Middleton. This season, he's been more healthier. He's been more determined to be able to get to go into what he is. It's been kind of, if it not, it's been kind of the same. So, but you want him though to be having a healthier playoffs. So far, it's looking so good. And it's averaging 20 points in this series. And that's what we want for Chris Middleton. There's guys. All right, so like Brook Lopez, who's having one of his best seasons of his career. To me, he is his second best season in his career because he's a two-way player now. He has great three-point range and incredible defensive effort to the court. He's a rim attacker. He's just finished second in defense per the year votes. So Hornet, he's the third best player. To me, it is him and then Middleton's fourth, but not that far behind. All right, you had the likes of Bobby Portis, an excellent offensive player who could play post a game and play a sort, or like you're so tired from the game watching from the game, and you're playing, and you think when the bench comes in, you get a sort of relief. Nope. By Portis gets that store same confidence that he's going to get everything and shows the culture of what this team is. Toughness is always their character. And Bobby Portis shows that so much. So he finished third in 6 man a year. Should have finished second, really. But it was getting close. It was in the vote take. And he's been in that sort of player. Since the Bucks days, he's been a better defender, and more down, where he isn't taking a pride into his defense or the growth of what he has become defensively. He's still 6'9", but he's still better. Then there's so much good bench. Anything can match Boston Celtics bench this season is the Bucks. Close enough. We got Joe Ingles, who's almost back to his old self of what he had in Utah. And he is very, very, very good. But a lot of people had not talked about that. How good he has been getting better and better each week. Then you had Jay Crowder, or Pat Connaughton, and my boy that can dunk, as he likes to say. You have Wesley Matthews, Javon Carter, and then you have a good shooter like Grayson Allen. All of these players are good players. They are a good team around the team to make them the best of it. They even Goran Dragic. They have so many veterans that you could talk about day in and day out that they're ready for this. They want to win a title. There is even a lot of players who've been so close to feeling the thirst of a title, but never had a chance to actually drink the entire bottle of that title of them. And they want that one last chance. They want to be able to fulfill it. And I believe that the Milwaukee Bucks can pull it off. But here's the thing. Giannis needs to prove it. Good. He's like that kind of guy, right, you remember if you're an old school fan of me, you look into the films Dennis Robinson versus the Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon lost to the MVP to Dennis Robinson. And he was so furious that he wanted to show everyone. And what kind of big mistake that you actually did. Did. And that's and there was 3 guys in the running for the MVP. Karl Malone, Akeem Olajuwon, and Davis Robinson. And it was very close. But we all knew who was the 2 at that time who was going to win. And that's what I talk about. Is that the game is what similar to Giannis this season. He averaged almost let's see here, Akeem Olajuwon that season. Pro season. He averaged almost 25 points, an aggressive 13 boards a night, and over 3 blocks. Becoming the greatest blocker we ever saw in pro season in history. And that's what I mean. Giannis is going to do that, I believe, once when and Magic considering that he lost MVP, and he knows that this team really needs him to step up, especially during when their rivalry between the Miami Heat, and then they got versus New York or Cleveland, and then they got to play the top dogs. And that's what I am waiting to see, is that they are going to show there's no competition in the East. There's no competition in the East. The only team that could really get in competition is the Boston Celtics or say Sixers, but they're going to go down in 6 games. That's right. I believe that none of those teams actually take them to 7. That's how aggressive this team looks like, and they want to win. They want to give everything they got into winning a title throughout this year. Here, I want to see them go through at and see them had dynasty their foot. Because it's been a long time coming since we had another team win a dynasty. And it's time we actually see another team do it, this time in the Eastern Conference. I want to see Giannis be one of the top 15 greatest players of all time, and be the 2nd greatest power forward. He will stay there for quite a while. I don't think he will ever reach the Tim Duncan split, but that's the whole thing. And we want to see it. We aren't able to feel that grasp of that. But the only way that happens is if he wins another title. And I don't think he's going to have a better shot than this year. And thank you for joining me. And I'll see you next time in another video of JLC More to NBA.